Okay, so this and the next video will be my follow-up / explanation videos to pretty much flesh out the timeline a little bit, plus answer why I think the way I do about certain plot points and elements of the franchise. The biggest one is about Shadow Bonnie, because that definitely deserves explaining. After all, saying that one of the most important characters to the lore is a misunderstanding, quote-unquote, may rub some fans the wrong way. In no means is Shadow Bonnie a mistake or something forgettable. Actually, the reason he is so important is because of the crying child from FNAF 4 and how he finds his way back to him in the form of a memory in FNAF 3. Before we get into it, I just wanted to remind you guys that subscribing, liking, and commenting your favorite parts of the videos I make really boosts me in the YouTube algorithm, so if you're ever feeling a bit generous, please consider supporting me down below, as it helps me bring better content to the table, especially since college can be pretty stressful at times. I'm trying to get the YouTube grind going, so if you guys would like to see more with the series, your patronage is much appreciated. Okay, let me set the scene for you guys. It's 2015, and FNAF 3 is just introducing itself into the fray after riding the hype coattails of FNAF 2 and its massive story and world building. It's hands down the most anticipated FNAF game ever at the time. The Shadows are major players in this game, the victims get set free, the killer has suffered the same fate that the spirits did, and as hype as that sounds considering the state of the franchise at the time, FNAF 4 just kind of opened up all kinds of doors to what seemed like an open and shut case of a truly satisfying trilogy of games, with the fans questioning whether or not the previous games were even real. Taking into account all of this, the crying child stands at the top as the linchpin for all of the game's mysteries at this point. For all intents and purposes, he is made the center of attention in FNAF 4, and Scott himself said that he didn't include random Easter eggs in the game, and that pieces are in place for us. All we have to do is put them together. Well, what if I told you the pieces were always in place for us? All we have to do is look to none other than this kid. Throughout the game, there are minigame flashbacks to the crying child before his birthday party, meeting all kinds of people along his way, and when you stop paying attention to not just the dialogue, but to the environmental elements of the game, the pieces begin to reveal themselves. First, let's go back to FNAF 3. Look at all the cake minigames where a random compilation of animatronics are giving a birthday cake to cheer up the spirits of Purple Guy's victims so they can move on. Except, I have an alternate interpretation of all these minigames. I don't think that these are multiple spirits being freed, I think they are all one victim. The bite victim. The crying child. Now, in order for this to make sense, we have to look at FNAF World. Scott Cawthon left us hints to the upcoming game with teasers such as, why would Toy Chica be missing her beak, and what is seen in shadows is easily misunderstood in the mind of a child. And 4 games, 1 story. I am 100% sold on the theory that if Scott kept releasing teasers like this, we would have heard something referencing Balloon Boy and Mangle. Now, why on earth, out of the entire plethora of characters to choose from, why would Balloon Boy and Mangle make the final cut and none of the others? What makes them so important? Well, the answer is simple. The pieces we find in FNAF World are the same pieces in FNAF 3 used to free the spirit of the crying child. It's a one-to-one comparison with how the cupcakes get shoved into the boxes in FNAF World, just like how Toy Chica gives the cupcakes in her minigame to the partygoers and eventually the cake to the bite victim. Each minigame correlates with a piece of the puzzle from FNAF World. So let's tally our roster. We have Toy Chica from the Cupcake minigame, Mangle from the Arcade Button Code minigame, Golden Freddy from the Wall Code minigame that, if reversed, is the hexadecimal color code for purple, Balloon Boy with the poster minigame, and Shadow Bonnie with the figure on the desk. And these animatronics aren't random. By any means, they are key players in the franchise as pieces to put back together the story of FNAF. So, how does the crying child fit into all this? Well, he sees all the pieces in his life before being bitten by Fredbear on his birthday. Now, you may be thinking that's stupid. He doesn't interact with any animatronic that he isn't cowering or in fear of. I mean, he's literally terrified of even being near Fredbear, so how could he have possibly interacted or been around any of the pieces necessary for him to have memories of and need to be put back together for him to move on in the afterlife? One word: symbolism. Each minigame presents a new piece of the puzzle. The crying child sees Toy Chica on a playground, missing her beak, because the little girl he was talking to was playing with her little action figures. He meets a boy in a red shirt with a balloon who reminds him to go to his own party. I believe this standalone kid represents Balloon Boy. When he enters a girl's room in his house, whether that be his sister or his mother's room is a debate for another time, but there is a broken up Mangle toy on the floor. At Freddy's, he sees the purple guy helping a fellow employee fitting his Spring Bonnie costume on in the darkness of an employee's only area, thus bringing Shadow Bonnie into this. And you can say that the Fredbear plushie is what he remembers, but I would like to think that since the Golden Freddy in FNAF 3 is on stage with Spring Bonnie performing, that the Bite of 87 itself is the last piece of the puzzle to restore the memories of the crying child. I personally believe it that way because narratively it makes more sense, because he needs to be reminded of how he died in order to move on from it. Plus, having your frontal lobe bitten off and becoming a spirit not remembering your troubled past just works so well thematically. It makes the fetch quest of minigames for cakes to give to each part of the bite victim that needs to have the memory recovered make more sense. Now that we know the connection between FNAF 3, 4, and World, all that's left is to figure out the last mystery Scott gave us. 4 games, 1 story. This is huge because it ties into the FNAF 4 box and what I believe Scott originally intended FNAF 4 and World to be about. But that's a theory I'm going to wait till next time to reveal. Sorry about the cliffhanger. I didn't want this video to be too long because I want to stick to a solid uploading schedule, and making multiple videos is just easier on not only me but my computer as well. But thank you guys so much, and I appreciate you for taking time out of your day to watch this, and I hope to see you in the next one.